we did this for the individual. Let's do this for a country. Let's say a country has two options. They can either choose to make all military goods. What's an example of a military good?
Tanks.
Tanks. Good example of a military good.
Gun.
Ammo.
Guns also. Ammo. Yeah, these things are all military goods. They can either make military goods or they can make consumer goods. What's a consumer good?
Dairy.
Very good. You know, it's funny. Somebody said guns when I said military goods, and somebody said dairy when I said consumer goods. In most basic economics textbooks, they've given you names of goods to represent military and consumer goods. This is what they always put, and this is kind of weird. They always say guns and butter.
I say butter.
It's kind of dumb. I don't know. Somebody just did that one day and it stuck. But guns are meant to represent military goods, and butter represents. It's just something representing consumer goods. But if you just look at, if you open up any old economics textbook, I can almost guarantee that one of those first production possibilities, frontier, you'll see guns on the vertical and butter on the horizontal. But it's just that they represent two different things. So, guns and butter.
You dropped that in the trash can.
Oh.
It's Monday, cover 6 o'clock.
Not that one.
Alright,
This
so.
guy came through the drive-thru with a Bud Light and a rifle on his lap. All over him.
What numbers do we put them on?
We don't even have to use numbers for this one.
Really?
This guy came through the drive-thru yesterday with a Bud Light and a rifle on his lap.
So, I can produce all military goods if I wanted to. I can produce all consumer goods.
It's not a good idea.
I can produce some combination. Okay? I can produce somewhere in here. And let's label a point out here. Just to put it there. Okay? We're going to label each of these 3 points. We need to come up with some terms for each of these 3 points. Let's call them A, B, C.
What about the other two?
Shh.
Well, you can call those D and E if you want to, but I don't have too much to say about them, except that if we're producing here, how much consumer goods are we producing?
None.
None. We're producing here, how much military goods are we making?
None.
Because we're using all of our resources to make consumer goods. Every person that we have in the country, every square inch of land, all of our resources are being devoted to producing consumer goods right there. All right, but point A, let's go to that one first. Point A. We have a word for that, or a term, a phrase. Inefficient. Use of what? Starts with an R.
Use of
Resources.
Very good.
Ah, beat you to it.
Point A. Inefficient use of resources. This does need to go in your notes.
It does or doesn't?
It does. Can we produce here if we want to? At point A?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can. I got news for you. We're producing here right now. Are we producing everything we're capable of making in this country right now?
No.
No.
We have oil and
We are not on our production possibilities frontier.
That's because we rely too much on China and all those other countries that make our crap.
Yeah, because everything you go and look at, it all says made in China.
If we made more stuff in our own country,
I don't even care about that stuff. I care about gas.
We'll talk, and we'll talk more about that
$4
stuff
for gas.
later, but just think about it in terms of resources using. Is everybody who wants to work in this country working right now?
No.
No.
No, that's one reason we're here. Because if I'm here, I'm not using my resources wisely. We've got factories that could make a lot more stuff. I mean, we have capital. We have tools that are
There's
sitting down unused. Somebody here? Sure. Chelsea? So if A is inefficient use of resources, what is B?
It even.
Who said? What? Somebody said something.
I do.
What'd you say, Laura?
Efficient.
Efficient.
Efficient. Yes. B is efficient use of resources. And actually, I've just about changed my mind. I think that we can label these points too. I think we should also call them, let's just call them all that point B. These are all point Bs. Because it doesn't matter where you're at on your production possibilities frontier, as long as you're using all the resources available to you, you are on that curve. You're using all your resources efficiently. Now, you may not think it's wise for a country to make nothing but military goods, but to an economist it'd be efficient. You're using all the resources at your disposal. It may not be the best bet, it may not be the optimal place to be, but it's efficient. Where are we, guys? Are we closer up here? Are we closer to military or closer to consumer?
Consumer.
Way closer to consumer.
Our military's too good.
Before I go on to something else, let's look at point C. Let's label point C. Point C, we'll say it's not currently attainable. That just means you can't get there right now. Not currently attainable without trade. Not currently attainable without trade. Notice, does it say never attainable? No, not currently attainable. We can get there one day, possibly. So, need a good marker. What was on the vertical? Guns? Guns and butter. Military or consumer? The USA right now. Well, at one time, it's kind of like we're right here, right? More consumer goods. A little bit of military goods. Then we went into a recession. We went to this point. That's our recession. Y'all with me so far? We have available resources. We have resources sitting there that are not being used. So this is a recession. When we come out of the recession, what's going to happen to this dot?
It's going to go into the line.
It's going to go back up to the line. Very good. Another thing we can show. Hurricane Katrina a couple of years ago tore up New Orleans, knocked out a couple of oil refineries, did some damage. What happened to this curve?
Down.
Why, Justin? You're right, by the way.
Without oil, you can't do nothing really.
Say what?
Without oil, you can't do nothing really.
Yeah, okay, so if this line represents efficient use of resources, when Katrina came in and knocked out all that machinery, the refinery, right, it took away some of our resources. So if we lose resources, the curve goes in. Another way of saying that is, let's say that you had 8 hours of free time on the weekend, and then your boss decided to make you work at extra hours at the job. So you have less resources. That would also make your curve. You have less time to spend with your friends or your girlfriend. So if you lose resources, then you can shift in. Make sense so far? The next thing to go in your notes, and you can do this on here if you want to, if you can do it a way to make it look pretty. I'd actually prefer you to kind of do it separately. Is draw me a second one. Just make it kind of a small one. And show the curve shifting outward. Like that. That whole curve is shifting. Get little arrows showing the whole curve shifting outward.
Are we going to label this one too?
I just have one thing for you to write there. We call it, when the whole curve shifts out, we call that economic, what? G-R.
Growth.
Very good. When that curve shifts out, that's economic growth.